Another week of Monday Night Raw, and it wasn't a bad show. It was a good show, in my opinion. I think they progressed a lot of storylines this week ahead of the Royal Rumble, and we got to hear Vince McMahon give out threats like he's 10 years old. That dude's a psycho. But this is things you might have missed, and before we get started, make sure you've hit the like button. It really does help the video out, and if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe too. Veer Mahaan is still coming to Monday Night Raw. It's still happening, guys, but there was even bigger news this week. A lot of people on Twitter are talking about this. A potential Fiend tease. Just listen to this. Now, there is no denying that is the shutdown music for the Fiend, for the Firefly Funhouse, when the Fiend would shut everything down in the arena. That is the noise. Now, it is a sound effect. They possibly, most likely, have just reused it for the Royal Rumble. But why the shutdown noise at the end of the countdown? A few people also sending me the fact that the glitches are back in the Roman and Seth promo. And they are. There's quite a lot of them. Go and watch that promo from Raw this week. I didn't notice it on SmackDown, but it's definitely there now. Is the Fiend coming back? Is this WWE's way to say maybe? I don't know. I don't think we'll know until the Royal Rumble. I think this is another tease, another thing that we're looking into, maybe a little bit too much. Maybe I'm more skeptical now because we've had months of this, but it's potential and it's worth noting. However, his old friend Alexa Bliss was on Raw and she had another therapy session, a much shorter edition of the therapy than last week, which I think some of you are pleased that we didn't do another 10-minute things you might have blissed. But I want to focus on what the actual therapist said to Alexa Bliss. He was asking her questions, and every single answer she gave was simply Lilly. Now, interestingly, the only one she didn't respond to was the word imaginary. And look out the window. There's nothing there. Could this entire therapy session, could everything we're seeing be in the mind of Alexa Bliss? It's possible. It was discussed last week. I saw a few people in the comments talking about that possibility. And what kind of therapist leaves the therapy room with the client still in there and he's gone? What's she going to do now? It does make you wonder if she's kind of trapped in her own imagination in this therapy room. I think possibly. If so, is she turning more psychotic than ever before? Because that's the kind of thing you would resemble this kind of imaginary state to. It's interesting. But now it's time for the whole world to watch me. As if Liv Morgan couldn't get any cooler, now you see her in snow. Honestly, it's genius, isn't it? But of course, Liv Morgan did announce herself for the Royal Rumble match. So did Bianca Belair. So they're in the women's Royal Rumble, and Liv was involved in a tag team match this week, but there was a major botch by DouDrop. DouDrop broke up the pin with Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, seemingly turning on partner. Of course, they can't coexist. She pulled Becky to the corner, but forgot to make the tag. She then had to go back. She did then correct it, of course, went back to the corner and made the tag to then come back in. She hit the splash and got the pinfall. I enjoyed the fact she did go and do the splash. She didn't just pin Liv, what was, I'm assuming, the plan originally. She then hit her with another move. So it doesn't make Liv look as weak, but it's a bad botch. It does take away a little bit. The confrontation kind of happened between Beth Phoenix and Maryse this week. Of course, Maryse then hitting Beth Phoenix with her purse. And you know what? I love this. I was actually on the phone at the time to the botch guy. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, make sure you do that. But of course, I predicted it. It was a brick, and not just a brick. Corey Graves calling it a really expensive designer brick. That's right, a designer. What? A designer brick. That's right. There's been some major news, though, for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. And yes, it's not called the WrestleMania Chamber. It is the Elimination Chamber. Will return to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on February 19th. Now, this has been met with a lot of criticism online. Seriously? Just stop. Saudi Arabians are wrestling fans too, and if they deserve a pay-per-view, just like anyone else, just enjoy the show. If it's anything like Crown Jewel, it will be good. We had an 8-man tag this week with Mysterios teaming up with the Street Profits, but before we get to that, there was some really awesome 2K22 news. 3 days left for the big reveal, although it kind of maybe has been leaked. We don't know if this is confirmed yet, but it looks like Rey Mysterio will be the cover star of 2K22, which is really cool because Rey Mysterio also has a cartoon coming out on Cartoon Network. We spoke about this before, and seeing the amount of outside love for Rey Mysterio, like a cartoon 2K cover, he is going to be so pushed to the moon. He's got to be. Although, at the end of the 8-man tag, they teased it. Rey threw Dominic over the top rope. And yes, it's not a heel turn. It was a I one-upped you kind of deal. But they still did it. Are they going to lay the seeds at the Royal Rumble? You got to think maybe. Surely they're going to break up eventually, right? This is one of the funniest things I have ever seen in WWE. I love Otis in this segment. Seeing him do character work is brilliant. And them coming out to the Macho Man's theme song, that I love it. It was so freaking cool as they graduated. Of course, RK Bro came out. We're getting some kind of mental test thing next week, which is going to be interesting. I assume a rematch at the Royal Rumble. And I honestly think this is the start of the breakup for RK Bro, and I'm fine with that. I am loving what they're doing on Raw. Now, there was some news yesterday. We did do a community post on it, where Mustafa Ali went to Twitter and publicly requested his release from WWE. Honestly, I don't blame him. He's had such a stop-start career. There's news out there that apparently this may be because of an argument with Vince McMahon over creative. Obviously, we don't know that. We haven't had news yet that his release has been granted by WWE. You have to assume that it will be. We'll just have to wait and see. But honestly, this channel loves Mustafa Ali. We did so much stuff with the hacker gimmick and Retribution. Every time you hoped Mustafa Ali was going to get pushed, he didn't. And WWE just kind of gave up. And it's a shame. Maybe they can negotiate something with him to stay. We'll just have to wait and find out. But no matter what, Mustafa Ali, wherever he goes, he'll be a star. Next week, we get the official weigh-in for Brock Lesnar vs. Lashley. What a genius thing to do. It makes it feel like a legit fight. I love the fact we got the After the Bell podcast little clip we got. That was kind of cool, seeing something outside of WWE, related to WWE, of course, and basically advertising it on their flagship show of Raw. That makes sense. And we got this really, really cool career retrospective of both Brock Lesnar and, of course, Bobby Lashley. Seeing stuff like Brock's amateur wrestling and the things that both Brock and Lashley have accomplished in the WWE, even as far as Brock's UFC career. They showed this on WWE TV. Is cool. This main event is a dream match for the Royal Rumble. And not only is it a dream match, WWE are treating it like it is. And it feels big because they're treating it so well. And I love it. Thank you, WWE. We did find out the official theme song for Royal Rumble this week on Raw. Always like to know what that is, so that's perfect. And of course, Omos did destroy, Reggie. And I have got a gripe to bear with this. Of course, the 24/7 thing was involved. That doesn't bother me much. But this is Reggie. Reggie can fly. Why are you not having Omos throw him across the arena everywhere? It just makes sense. Come on, WWE. But I have to give them credit for Nikki ASH because I wasn't keen on this. If you're on my Discord server, we've spoken about this. They won me back round this week. This was cool. Her being the hero we all deserve and basically giving us what we need. I like that. I like this character. I like what she's doing. I wish she'd change up the colours a little bit, but it was still cool. The main event saw Lashley versus Seth Rollins, and what a match it was too. And I've got to give WWE a bit of credit here because how do you book two number one contenders? You have a disqualification. It's WWE's typical way, but it made sense. You've progressed two storylines with the Usos attacking Seth Rollins and you had the Hurt Business attack Lashley. I wish they would play into Shelton's relationship with Brock, because it gives another reason why Shelton and Cedric would be attacking Lashley. Overall, I thought Raw was really good. I thought it was a okay show. It wasn't the best show they've done, and for that reason, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think potentially there's more improvement. Next week, the go home should be better. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Like the video, share the video. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next time.